Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Greatest Wrestling Alliance. I am Alphonse Stevens, on the call, on commentary for this great event here in the Bronx, right outside the Kips Bay Boys and Girls Club.
At 210 pounds from DOE, Department of Entertainment, is Mr. James!
So our opening contest, Joe Trash is going to go one-on-one with Mr. James, and you can hear from the crowd, these kids and this community loves Mr. James as he hands out a couple of gold stars to a couple of great youngsters. School's starting back up in a couple of weeks, and everybody loves to see Mr. James. He hands out those star stickers, and there we go. Sideways lock as this one begins. Joe Trash and Mr. James side headlock. Mr. James in control now. Off the ropes goes Mr. James. Huge shoulder tackle. I don't think Joe Trash ever excelled at school, which is why he had to become a trash man for a profession. Now here we go. Up and over. Roll through, and Mr. James with the showmanship early on from everybody's favorite teacher. As these kids here in the front row and the parents, they all love Mr. James. Joe Trash went for the stomp and missed. Swing and a miss. Up. Mr. James hooks Joe Trash, goes for the cover. Backslide with a bridge, only a 2 count, and there is a gold star for Joe Trash. I don't think Joe Trash is very amused with the antics of one Mr. James. Swing and a miss. Ooh! Nice capoeira kick from Mr. James. Only good enough for a 2 count, however. Mr. James. Trying to get this crowd behind him, which they are. We're here in the Bronx. This beautiful street fair. It's been a great afternoon so far, and only going to continue to get better with action from the Greatest Wrestling Alliance as Mr. James hammering away now in the corner on Joe Trash. Here we go. Huge clothesline here for Mr. James. Now Mr. James, standing moonsault. 1, 2, only a 2 count. Here in our opening contest, Mr. James looking to pick up a win. Mr. James, the experienced veteran, Joe Trash, the young upstart. A win over Mr. James will go very far for Joe Trash, but Joe Trash raking the eyes to get a window of opportunity to have some offense in this match. Off the ropes goes Trash. Crucifix driver, and he planted Mr. James right on the back of his neck. That one looked like it took a lot out of Mr. James. Joe Trash gaining a head of steam. He's in control so far, going back to the well.
What happened, right? I suck.
Very arrogant by one Joe Trash, stomping away now. And now choking Mr. James. James won't make it to the first day of school if Joe Trash keeps on the offensive like this. Now he's got the arm. Crossing over. Oh, wow, and he's wrenching the arm. He got that arm bar, but Mr. James, as you can see, locking his hands together to prevent that arm from being hyperextended. And Mr. James, the veteran, able to pick up Joe Trash. Oh, but Joe Trash with an elbow to the noggin. Joe Trash now with a modified triangle choke. But Mr. James was able to reach the ropes for a rope break. Trash got a release, and he does. This crowd firmly behind Mr. James, chanting his name. Joe Trash talking a lot of trash to the crowd instead of staying on Mr. James. Don't want to give a guy like Mr. James, an incredible athlete, time to recover. Be a big mistake is Joe Trash taking his time here. The chin lock now. You hear the screams of agony as Joe Trash has found a target working on that arm of Mr. James. Referee checking on Mr. James, making sure he does not want to submit here. Mr. James fighting back now. Hammering away with shots. And now a chop. But the damage is done to that arm. He's not putting his all into those chops, but there's another right hand from Mr. James. Off the ropes goes Mr. James. Oh no, Mr. James sending Joe Trash off the ropes, I should say. Series of clotheslines, swing and a miss from Joe Trash. Trying to create separation. And a standing spine buster. He picks him up, flips him over. Huge power slam. Cover. And only a 2 count. Joe Trash apparently got some more fight in him and going right back to that arm with that arm bar. Joe Trash not known for his submission wrestling, but he's applying the submissions so far here today. But Mr. James powering through, lifting up Joe Trash, and the power and conditioning of Mr. James on display. Oh my goodness! And just suplexed him right into the bottom turnbuckle. Surprised Joe Trash able to get to his feet. Roll up now. 1, 2, only a 2 count. And again, Joe Trash hanging on to that arm. Oh, he's got that arm bar cinched in, and once again, Mr. James gonna power through. As if Joe Trash didn't learn the first time. Into a sit-out Michinoku driver. And that's all she wrote for Joe Trash. Mr. James is going to win our opening contest here at the Greatest Wrestling Alliance, much to the delight of all the youngsters in the crowd with their parents here today. Mr. James told Joe Trash, "You're dismissed, son." Mr. James celebrating, standing tall as he gets the victory over Joe Trash here at the Greatest Wrestling Alliance.